Yeah, welcome everybody to round 2 of the 2025 AOMX FXR Championship in MX Bikes. I'm Kellen Brower, and it's time for Hangtown. That is what the wheel has selected for us tonight. If you weren't with us for the opening round of the championship last week at Unadilla and you don't know anything about this series, essentially this is a fun off-season race series put on by the guys at AOMX and FXR coming on board as well to help sponsor this. And there's a big prize pool available for the racers themselves, but also every single week they randomize and select a track 30 minutes before qualifying starts, and then they only get 20 minutes to qualify. So it is completely unknown. No one gets to grind the track. It is meant to be a little bit more player friendly so that racers can come in late and know how to race those tracks without having to grind them all day long. So we got Hangtown tonight for round 2. Very excited to bring the action. Of course, a lot of fun action at Unadilla last week, and we hope to continue the trend here tonight. Jump into the Discord here in just a minute with our pal for the evening. Of course, Talon back with us again this week to cover the racing action. And I think we're going to have just A-mains again tonight. So 2-moto format coming up in just a moment. Let's jump into the Discord and meet the second member of our broadcast team. All right, back in Discord now, and once again joined by Talon tonight. How you doing, man? How's everything going this week, and how you feeling?
Pretty good. Just ready to get another week racing. Kind of went by kind of quick this week, so there's that. And, got I think 9 more rounds left in this championship to go. We had some amazing racing last week and ready to get, and hopefully have some more this week with some more heavy hitters joining us.
Yeah, I mean, the race last week, it was really as good as it can get with having 4 or 5 different guys battling it out in both motos, trying to win the races. We had a battle all the way down to basically the checkered flag in Moto 2 as well, so it doesn't get much better than that. But it sounds like we even have more competition here tonight. Some heavy hitters coming back. TJ, the reigning champion, sounds like he's back as well. So just take us through who you're seeing out there that looks fast at Hangtown so far.
Yeah, like I said, obviously TJ is really fast. He actually got top quali, beating out Cam, who top quali last week, who is actually second. Willie third, Chase fourth, Brad fifth. So pretty much all the same guys. But then we got Brax in sixth. And then in-game he goes by Stein Bubba Stewart, but it's Steiner for anybody who's kind of watched the MX Bike community for a while. He's another fast guy. Splash is back. Dario is back. We have Timmy, who used to be Fish in the community, and Braden as well. So we got a bunch more heavy hitters coming to a race tonight. A lot of fast ones. Obviously, like I said, TJ, reigning champ, missed round 1 because he broke his back, I believe, out riding. But he's here now, and I think he'll be here for the rest of the championship, having, I think, not being able to go out and work like, he's supposed to if his back wasn't broken, but so it'd be good to have him here every round and do it. Cam, he was questioning of racing, so yeah, it's just a lot of heavy hitters back and some more new ones joining us.
Any surprises that you see from this list in qualifying that maybe jumps off the page as guys we didn't expect to see near the top in qualifying, but maybe they've already kind of grinded this track in the few months since it's come out?
One of them that we were talking about for a little bit was Dr. Gio. He did qualify 15th, but he out-qualified Washed, who is a fast guy. He got top 3 in the championship last year, and he's also pretty fast in MX Sim, so he's got the moto gaming kind of down here. But yeah, really him, a couple other guys. I mean, it looks pretty even, or kind of what I expect. Maybe just every guy being up there in the top 10, just maybe a few people swapping around here and there every week, but other than that, I think it's pretty standard for everyone, for qualifying at least.
Yep, and if you were not with us last week, Brad, who qualified P5 here tonight, was last week's big winner at Unadilla, so he's got the red plate. I don't think we'll actually see a red plate on him tonight because I don't know if the team pack had something for him in there or not, but he is the points leader, so keep an eye out for Brad from the Ashika program. And yeah, these times are close. Racing is soon to commence, and I am very excited about it. What's your thoughts on Hangtown, Talon? You like this track? Do you think this is going to be a good one to watch racing on?
I think it will be pretty good. It is the only track that I actually tried qualifying for this year for outdoors. I didn't qualify, got a couple plays off, but it wasn't too bad, only being a couple tenths off here after not playing the game for a couple months. But yeah, it felt pretty good. It's kind of like last week where it's pretty fast, but it isn't Last week the track markers weren't really placed the best, so a lot of people were getting cuts when they really shouldn't have. In here, I think it's a little bit better and a little bit more rough, and there should be more line choices here as well.
Yeah, this is one of the few rounds that I actually got a chance to race as well, and it was a little hard to pass. It kind of turned into a little bit of a one-line track at some points, but I would agree with some of the things that you said about it. Looks like it's going to make for some good racing tonight. And obviously, if you're new to MX Bikes, maybe you've never seen any of this racing before. The track starts off with, it's not a smooth version of the track, but it's the smoothest version that they have, and it just gets rougher as the night goes on. No reset between motos. What you're seeing now is as fresh as it'll be, and then it'll get rough and ruddy by the end. Do you know what the road is set to tonight by chance, actually?
Let me double check, but if it's the same as last week, yeah, 0.09 is the erode.
0.09, so it'll chew up, but I don't think it's going to be the gnarliest Hangtown we've ever seen, right?
Yeah, I don't think it'll get too bad. Obviously, like you said, there is some pre-made ruts in here that's going to give guys some line choices at the beginning. Obviously, because in moto gaming, we don't really have, I think, anything made to, make our own ruts like they do in real life, but, obviously, it will get rough to an extent. We might see some line changes like we did last week, but some guys love to just kind of stick it out in that main line and build setups towards, sticking it out and hitting that same line over and over again, no matter how rough it gets.
With regards to setup, because we saw this last week with Unadilla a little bit, do you think these guys have that similar setup they maybe ran at Hangtown here tonight, or do you think they even maybe refine it, like you said, because it doesn't get as rough as maybe the ARL races, and so they can kind of have a little bit more stiff suspension, I would assume, not dealing with as much of the gnarliness?
Yeah, I think most of them probably went as the one that they ran for Ariel. They're set up as the base, I believe. And then obviously if they feel like it, obviously ridden the track more and having more time in newer versions of the game, new updates, tiny ones that might have changed some things, they might update and tweak things here and there. But I normally like to run the same setup through and through, and unless it's a really, really different track and I'm really struggling, I'll change something. But I like to stick with one setup and work with it. But never really know with some of these guys. A lot of them like to keep it a little secret, no real sharing unless you're on the same team. So it's kind of hard to get that information from any of them.
I take it you are on the same setup then that you had maybe to ride Unadilla last week?
Yeah, I would have stuck in with the same one, but obviously these guys might change it, like I said, but it really just depends on the person. Some people could just stick with the same setup and not change it once. Other guys like to change it every week, every couple races, other than that, but it really just depends on the person you are.
Yeah, of course. What's your take on this version of Hangtown? Obviously, we've seen a few changes to the track over the past couple of years, specifically first handful of corners, but do you like this layout of Hangtown and how it flows?
I don't mind it. I personally kind of preferred the switchback at the beginning, where it was kind of more off camber. It kind of slowed the track down a little bit more, but some people prefer this layout. I don't really have a preference. I just like that section more. But other than that, I think the track is pretty good. But other than that, that's one thing that I would probably change back, is bringing back that off-camberness, even though it doesn't really work too well in this game with the physics. But, to each their own. Yeah,
I was going to say, off-camber corners and MX bikes, you got me gritting my teeth a little bit. But I can understand from your standpoint, the technicality of it makes it a little bit more fun and challenging of a racetrack, whereas that first downhill, man, it is high speed and opening lap chaos coming down that hill, third, fourth gear, trying to get to the inside rut. I think we're going to see a little bit of chaos coming down off that first downhill.
Yeah, I like lugging the bike around in this game, especially on the 450, because you really can just, most bikes, there's some bikes you can obviously, but most of the meta bikes that people use, you could just kind of keep her in third gear or ease to and just kind of lug the bike around, and it could be one of the faster ways around the track. Which is kind of hard to do with all these long downhills and long uptills where you're just constantly on the gas and trying to keep as much speed up as possible.
Yeah, this feels like a good track to ride a 250 on just because you get to hold it wide open everywhere. But 450s, it can present an interesting challenge. Got a couple comments from the chat already. Transcend says he's been running the same 250 MX setup since the second MXGP round, so hasn't even changed his suspension in months pretty much. And then Posty says he agrees with you, Talon, that he uses the same setup for legit the whole season. So not a lot of changes, probably not expecting much from Unadilla to here. I think maybe when we get to the sand rounds, that's when guys will play with a little bit of their setups a bit more. But yeah, just interesting to see how these guys set up for these races and go into tonight's racing for round 2.
Yeah, it can be kind of unique to some people, but like I said, I like to stick with one, work it around, and most of the time, like in real life, you kind of know the track you're going to, you kind of know what to expect. But it looks like now we're going in around one and see how these guys, or Moto 1, and figure out how they go around this track and see what passing opportunities they can create.
Yep, Moto 1 coming up here at round 2 of the FXR AOMX Championship in MX Bikes. Looks like they just got a reset on the bell there for a minute. Was someone not in, or what happened there?
I can check the chat. It's
a
bit risky for you being a streamer, but
yeah, I don't really try to look in the chat too much, but
yeah, it looks like due to the game, obviously there's people that get jump starts, so that's what happened with Dorian Merritt. So just making sure he got in.
Gotcha. All right, well, here we go. Up the inside, it looks like Cam is way down the inside. Actually, TJ way down the inside, Cam right next to him. We got Chase, Willie, Brad, the points leader, Splash, Brax, Stin, Bubba Stewart, Dariel, Timmy, Braden, KFC, Ryguy, Caden, Dr. Gio, Wash, Jordan, W, Reed, Silva, Transcend, Doug, Dizzle, Dorian, Moreau, Posty, Gooey. We got Cam, Zach, Cable TV, and Krusty way on the outside. 30 minutes plus 2 laps ready to go here at Hangtown for round 2 of the AOMX FXR Championship in MX Bikes. Where's that whole shot coming from, Talon?
I'm thinking probably about 10 from the inside might be a good gate to pick. You get kind of more of a straight shot and a little bit of a decent angle, but we might see some bikes flying here with this fast left-hander.
Well, here we go. It's time for round 2 of the championship. Moto 1 here at Hangtown. Let's drop the gate and go racing in MX Bikes. Gate is down in a land rush into turn number 1. It's a Yamaha out of the middle that got there first, but everybody pushes wide, and I think Splash on the Fantic officially got across the line first, but Washed takes over the race lead. The SPX Performance out front with Cam moving up into second place up the inside as we go up the uphill on lap 1.
Yeah, Washed second place in the title last year, but starting to pull a bit of a gap here going down the hill as everyone's trying to funnel to the middle or inside here. Cam goes down behind him. A couple other riders go down along with him. So now a small gap has formed with Washed and Splash leading it, and then we got Stin, Bubba Stewart, and then we also got, looks like that's Chase going down the inside, so big start from him compared to his last week's start, trying to look up front early and try to get a moto victory here in Moto number 1.
Also like to see our guy Washed out front with a little bit of a fist bump on the uphill triple on lap 1. Stoked with that start and getting out into the early lead. He is under attack already, though. Splash right up behind him, and then a good start for Chase. If you remember back to Unadilla last week, Chase probably got the worst of it with both motos not getting off the gate very well, especially in that first moto. So off to a good start in this one. Wonder what he's able to do from the 3 spot.
Yeah, it looks like we noticed he's kind of our own Marchbanks from last week. Passing a lot of guys, horrible starts, but as I pass him, Washed is down out of the lead, so Splash into P1, Chase P2 now. He doesn't look to get passed by anyone else, but it's Reed in P4, so now the pack is all together once again with Splash leading early now.
Weird spot to go down there for Wash. Couldn't really see it, and he's down again actually on the downhill. Just gets a little bit left there, does the Deegan helicopter line. But I was surprised to see him down in the rollers because those guys are usually pretty straight through there unless you blow the inside rut. Now Chase down out of P2. He lays it down on the outside of that rut. Looks like Reed trying to move up into the 2 spot as Splash leads lap number 1. Up the inside, Reed bumps Chase wide and moves into second place. What a move.
Yeah, it looks like he might have put a hand up there, might have not meant to touch him. As he slides out on the downside of the jump, goes down, so loses a couple spots here. And a couple guys getting by, Chase getting back by. We got Brad, your points leader, along with Stein, Bubba Stewart right behind him. But Splash starting to pull a bit of a gap. I also saw Wash go down in the background with Brax. So unfortunately, it's gone from a good start to a very bad position now here early. Looks like he's down in P12 after those crashes.
Oh, man, and update on the defending champion of the series, TJ. He was off to a bad start in this one as well. He is up into the 9 spot, though, early on, trying to get things rolling As you mentioned, though, Brad, our points leader, going after Chase for second place, was able to make some good early passes, and now he's trying to quad down the inside up the uphill to the inside at the top, and he will take over second momentarily. Chase charges back around the outside. They're practically rubbing number plates coming down the hill, and Chase able to shut the door and hold on for this time being. But Stein, Bubba Stewart right there in the background trying to come with them as they're both battling with each other, and Bubba Stewart might want to get up there and move into the 2 spot before long.
Yeah, he's probably just waiting patiently, waiting for a mistake. Can happen for these guys going through these rollers that Wash went down. There is a tiny kicker at the beginning of it, so that might have been what caused Wash, but Brad down the inside. Chase misses the rut, so Brad's going to move into P2. See if Stein Bubba Stewart can move along with them as he's looking to eye up a pass. So he goes down the inside following Chase, who tries to get another pass back on Brad.
Yeah, Brad with a nice move at the top of the hill right there. Simple mistake from Chase, just jumping a little too far right on the step up. Misses that inside rut, and Brad, ever the opportunist, jumps down the inside and takes over the 2 spot. Splash starting to get away a little bit right now. And again, remember last week to Unadilla, Splash had the lead in the first moto, all but gone. 10 plus seconds out front, then some late crashes. So kind of the same story again this week, at least so far. Do you think he's able to pull this gap out a little bit, or do you think Brad's going to start going with him?
I feel like he's going to probably try to pull out a gap like last week, maybe try to be more calm in the later end of the moto and not try to lose it. But Brad might be trying to just copy what he did last week. He's in P2 here. He does have Chase behind him to worry about, but he's starting to pull a little bit of a gap on him. So Brad, he is going to try to move forward and try to just set his own pace. He's going double here instead of going outside triple quad. And then the quad up this hill here is a big one. It's kind of hard to get for the 450s, but all these guys are able to clear it pretty cleanly.
Yeah, Brad is keeping him honest and actually getting a little bit away from Chase, at least so far right now, as these guys are separating and establishing their positions out in the lead. Stein Bubba Stewart still in the 4 spot, then Cam up into the 5 spot with TJ just behind him by a few seconds now. So our first sign of TJ, we know his speed is there. Obviously dealt with a bit of a real-life injury last week, so couldn't make it. But have to imagine from here he's going to be able to work up and start battling with these guys just based on the raw speed he possesses, right?
Yeah, he should. He has, like I said, with that injury, he did have about a week off, I believe. So there's that he's probably dealing with, trying to get back into the flow of things. Cam, a small mistake up ahead of him, so he might have a chance to latch on and pull ahead of him or even go right past him. But, you know, TJ, number one, he knows how to get this thing done here in this championship. He was battling, I think he got P2 in the first year of this, so you know, he's looking to bounce back, maybe score some points and bring himself back into this championship.
We got God of War in chat asking if there's any onboard cameras. Would love to take a look at the leader. I can certainly try to show you it, but it is a little rough. It's pretty bouncy, especially with the ping lag that is associated with this game. It's not as clean as, say, MX Simulator. So we'll show it, but I don't know that it's going to be something you want to stick on board with for very long.
While that was happening, actually, Chase at the bottom of one of the hills went down out of P2, and he's fallen behind TJ here, so down into P6 for him, which gives Brad a little bit more breathing room as he is starting to close in. It was up to 4 seconds at one point, but with his 2 seconds of cuts, it looks like he's brought it down about 2 seconds on him, on your leader, Splash.
Yeah, I'm curious about how these cuts are going to play out. Again, they always seem to factor into the end result of the race to some facet. Maybe not always for the win, but at least in the mid-pack battles and so on. But Brad, at least to the eye test, is inching a little bit closer lap after lap to Splash. And as I say that, he's over the bars in the rollers. Another crash back there. What is catching these guys out, Talon?
Like I said, there is that kicker, but it looks like Brad actually hit that kind of SpongeBob or that white banner there. It ended up kicking him over the bars by just barely clipping it with his rear end. These guys playing in first person can't really notice it as TJ goes down behind him, but you know, you don't really notice your rear end as you're trying to stand the bike up and keep it as straight as possible and keep the front end up so you don't lose that front end, but it can catch you out every now and then. Don't know if he's a first person player or not, but that might have been what happened for him.
Yeah, could be for sure. What's up, Brendan Kennedy? Welcome to the race here tonight. Hopefully you're doing well as we got a crash for second place. Stein Bubba Stewart lays it down on the table, and a long crash for Brad. He was going over the bars all the way down that straightaway and goes from battling for second to dropping back to P5. That allowed Chase to go by, but crucially Cam up into the 2 spot right there. Close quarters racing for these guys, not playing out so well so far. We've had a lot of contact here in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a lot of contact. Chase looking to go down the inside to Stein Bubba Stewart. Can he get the line? He closes it though. Stein does. So Chase having to look for another pass, see if he goes outside here, if he'll just follow him. Looks like he is going to end up following him and just go the double, double, double through this rhythm here and see if he can get the uphill quad. Looks like they're all getting it nice and cleanly. Maybe a tiny case for Chase, but nothing too bad to slow him down. But these guys got to be careful. If they start battling, they do have Brad and TJ behind him who could catch up and mix things up here.
Yeah, the racing is really close here so far. Not a lot of separation from our leaders on back. Obviously now Splash has a bit more breathing room after that crash out of Brad, but he cannot sleep on this either. These guys are all firing right now and looking sharp in the early runnings of this race. Still the closest battle seems to be Stein Bubba Stewart with Chase right behind him. Cam getting away in second. And Splash, I mean, it says about 4 seconds, but it feels closer than that when you actually look at it with how close the action is.
There is only, it goes by sectors for updating the time here, and there is only 3 sectors per track. So in this 2-minute long lap time, or a minute 40, get about 3 updates, and it looks like it's gone down about 3 seconds, I believe, to Cam. And neither of them do have cuts, so as of right now, it is whoever beats who on track, but Chase still putting the pressure on of Steiner right behind him, and he's looking down the inside going up this hill.
Yeah, Stein jumps out a little bit wide on the tabletop, and he is just right in his hip pocket. Coming down the hill, gets a little sideways actually on the outside line right there. Who's going to get the better drive on the uphill? Looks pretty even. Both of them scrubbing very nicely up to the very top of the Rancho Cordova hill here at Hangtown. Back off the top, Stein Bubba Stewart lays it down on that double coming down the hill, and they're kind of following each other right here. I mentioned earlier that this track can feel one-lined even though there's a lot of options on it, and so far kind of seems like Chase is just looking for that opportunity, but he might need a mistake out of Stein Bubba Stewart. Speaking of mistakes, Cam down out of P2, and then Stein Bubba Stewart lays it down in third. Chase gets right into second place just like that.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of lag or whatnot, because I saw that Stein's rear end got kicked out. It might have been from contact from Chase. Probably not intentional, but that might have been what caused Stein's crash. But yeah, it's just small mistakes like that can cost you big time, and it caused Steiner to go from P3 down to P5 and Cam from P2 to P3, and he's having to go on the chase and have some attack from Brad right behind him.
Yeah, he's got the eagle eye still on Chase ahead of him, but got to be careful about what's going on behind him, because Brad, Stein Bubba Stewart, and TJ are in a hellacious battle right now for the 4th spot. Oh, and a big crash as Bubba lays it down. TJ hits him, and Stein Bubba Stewart ends up way outside of the mechanics area after he picks the bike back up. TJ able to pick it right back up right away in the 5 spot, but again, it just seems like every time these guys get pretty close to each other, it results in a big crash.
Yeah, it's always risky. I know Tyler J's from EU. I don't know about Steiner. He might be from EU as well. So that ping on an American server might not be doing them favors with the netcode already being a little sketchy on MX bikes. But I mean, Tyler J having to deal with that most of his racing career might be able to just work with it. It's obviously frustrating, but it looks like he's already going back to work to try to chase down Cam in front of him, who looks like Brad might have got past him.
Yeah, Cam actually went down at the top of the hill on the tabletop, and Brad was able to sneak by. Meanwhile, Chase is all over Splash for the race lead. It's less than a second as they go up the uphill. Didn't see whether there was a big mistake out of Splash or not, but suddenly that comfortable gap that he had is all but gone, and Chase, who is in the midst of a heated battle just trying to get into a podium position, finds himself battling for the lead here. Now, we just talked about it a minute ago with the lack of passing opportunities. If you're Chase, do you try to settle in, or do you want to try to make a quick pass and get into the lead?
He might want to get into the lead because it looks like he has more pace over Splash, and Splash is making mistakes trying to hold him behind. So if he could get ahead of him quickly, he might be able to just pull a gap and give himself some breathing room to just settle into a good pace and find his flow here.
Yeah, and obviously we've already seen a lot of crashes when these guys get in close quarters, so maybe you don't want to follow for too long. But right now, that is what he is forced to do, as Splash continues to control the front here, 12 minutes down into this 30+2. This is Moto 1 of the AOMX FXR Championship in MX Bikes, round number 2 at Hangtown. You're watching the battle for the lead. Splash and Chase going at it, less than a second between them. And if they get together, got to watch out for Cam and Brad still going at it for the 3 spot behind them. This is good stuff, though, Talon. I like this racing. We've had 3 motos into this, and it feels like everyone is a banger thus far.
Yeah, I got a lot of heavy hitters in this championship here. A lot of following, like you said earlier, but Chase looks like he has a lot of pace, and neither of them do have cuts, so this track is more favorable on cuts, like I mentioned at the top of the show. But Chase trying to find a way around him. I don't know if he's trying to force it, but you see tiny little mistakes like exiting ruts early, or just jumping into the wrong ones, or jumping too far right, entering them. So we'll see what he can do. But I think he might be a little bit faster on this area where these quads and doubles come into play here. But everywhere else, Splash might have him as long as he can stay consistent and not lose touch or make small mistakes like he was earlier.
With the limited ability to jump around lines and try stuff out, what sort of factor do you think lap traffic is going to play? Because these guys are starting to catch at least a couple of them. There's not going to be a big group for a while, but a few coming up here soon. Is it going to be tough to navigate them as they're battling with each other as well?
Yeah, it really depends on the lapper. Some of them will move out the way. Some of them do end up crashing like that one right there of Cat, unfortunately. But it helps out you. It just really depends on the rider or when you catch them, because there's certain places on the track where there is one line you could go to, and others where if you go out of the main line, you're just losing 10 seconds. And as a lapper, that's kind of not what you want to have happen if you're fighting for just getting points positions here.
Oh, man, it's getting close. Chase was almost onto the back fender right there as they went over the finish line jump. 0.2 of a second between them. Again, still no penalties, which is great to see. Does Chase look like he's going to size up a pass here as they go up the uphill? He is all over Splash, making him work for it. They both actually hit that outside marker. That rut looks like it might be getting into it just a little bit, and they rode the nose up the hill for just a moment right there. And it seems like Splash got away from that one, maybe a little bit cleaner, but now a mistake, and Chase up the inside of the uphill takes over the race lead halfway through this moto, and it's still going out front.
Yeah, very simple mistakes like that. We saw it with Cam, and now we see it with Splash, and actually Chase not able to get by him. It looks like Splash might have held him up, or Cam is on one as he is bringing himself, and it looks like Brad up to this lead as Cam goes down behind him. So now Brad is looking to get into this fight for the lead, but Chase looking to set sail. He does have one lap ahead of him he's got to get ahead of. Looks like he pulls over. But yeah, and a small mistake from Splash right behind him, so Chase looking to set sail and pull a big gap on the rest of the field here.
That is how close it is. Your top five separated by almost nothing coming down that hill, as it looks like Brad may have just gone down out of the 3 spot. That moves, of course, Cam firmly into third all by himself. And then TJ able to get a pass done, but now TJ trying to deal with the lapper, has Brad pull up alongside of him. The lapper's just putting his arm up, trying to get out of the way, swings wide, and Brad gets back by TJ. So again, a little bit of lap traffic issues right there. Didn't seem like he was trying to, block them of any kind, but again, the lack of passing on this track is making it tough. Now TJ goes down, gets hit by that same lapper, and he's going to lose several time markers, but also position to Stein Bubba Stewart right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, just small mistakes are going to end up costing you big time. And Wash, we actually see again, he's right behind these guys, a little bit back, but it looks like TJ is going to get back around Stein Bubba Stewart, try to make a charge back up to that lead group. But, tiny mistakes are going to cost you big if they just keep on adding up for these guys.
So it is now Chase, our leader, coming up the uphill on lap number, I don't even know what lap we're on right now, but we're over halfway through the race. I think we're on lap 9 or so. And Chase is
lap 8. Yes.
Lap 8. So we're starting to pull away a little bit with Chase out front. Splash drifting back behind him in second place just a little bit. And it seems like Cam may have gone down again because Brad is in front of him. So Cam, I think at the bottom of the downhill right there, laid it down again. Seems like Cam has a lot of pace underneath of him, but he got to stay on 2 wheels because that has been his kryptonite so far in this moto.
Yeah, especially last week we also saw, that bad start didn't really help him, but he couldn't follow Chase up. And then moto number 2, he had the lead late in the moto. Looks like I think going into the final lap, but unfortunately he went down there as well. So he's got to fix up these tiny mistakes, and he could be becoming a really big title threat as he slides out there as well. So even more crashes for Cam. And it looks like TJ is going to maybe get by him down the inside, but Cam shuts the door. So now we got a battle here for P4.
Yeah, Cam and TJ going at it, and still right behind them, Steiner going off that triple in the background. So good race all around the racetrack. It seems like as soon as we switch away from one battle, we find another good one. And these guys certainly throwing caution to the wind, trying to battle it out and stay inside of the top 5, because you never know. This could turn into a battle for the lead before long. That is why the leaders have not gotten away. And a mistake, Cam lays it down. TJ hits him doesn't actually crash, so has to spin the bike around and get going again. Now Cam down again. TJ trying to go to around the outside of him. They're both going to lose positions to Washed, and Cam is still in front of TJ, who's probably losing it at this point, and finally makes that pass stick.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I think these two are good friends, and unfortunately that just sucks for TJ having, unfortunately, all this crash is not really his fault, just getting stuck wrong place at the wrong time. But it also led to him having to follow him as he clips that white barrier and goes down again on the worst place on the track. See if Willie is going to get up close to him. Actually, it's KSC, but because of cuts, he's behind Willie. But unfortunately, bad to worse, and all started with, unfortunately, him running into the back of Cam there. So not much he could do up until that one crash there up the hill.
Yeah, he's got to try to calm it down now and not let that get to him too much. As we look ahead to the top of the hill once again, see our leader Chase coming down with Splash not too far back and Brad hanging tough. So our three group out front really has broken away. Now Splash just went down in second. He's trying to rejoin safely here. He does so in front of Brad, but Brad down the inside may steal second. No, Splash holds on.
Yeah, I think Brad might have backed off there. Didn't want to cause a collision that wasn't needed. He's still got 10 minutes left. Oh, small mistake for Splash, and down they go. He missed the rut, tried coming back on, and unfortunately it did not work out. Ziguis a lap splits him, but Brad going to get into P2 there. You know, one thing with these guys, Max HUD is a little bit broken in MX bikes right now, so they can't see how much time is actually left in the moto. They just got to go based off of laps, so these guys don't know how much time they have, but we'll see. Brad was trying to be patient there, and unfortunately he did get caught up in a crash, but it still gave him the position. But now Chase has a big lead of 11 seconds because of that crash now.
I got a question about that Max HUD thing. Has anybody tried to do something along the lines of like quite literally having a stopwatch on a monitor next to you just so you know how long the race has been going on or something like that, just so that while this is still broken, they have at least a reference point of any kind?
I haven't heard of it. What I would do though, luckily I am decently good at math, so I go based off at my average lap times.
Okay, yeah.
Times it by the number of laps, and that's just kind of what I go off of. It's kind of probably not the best thing to try to figure out mid-moto, but that's basically what I've had to go off of.
Well, I mean, hey, if any of their teammates are even tuning into the broadcast right now, we got a timer up. We're able to see ourselves how much time is left in this race, and they could too, as well as Chase now has got this thing pretty well checked out at the front of the field, over 11-second gap back to Brad. But again, if we go back to what happened last week, this is about the point in time in the race where we thought Splash at Unadilla last week in the first moto had got the thing under control, and then he crashed a few times, and suddenly it was a battle for the win at the front. So if you're Chase right now, this is the time to settle down, try to find a comfortable pace that you can hold on to, because it's up to Brad and Splash to close this gap down, and you don't want to give them any advantage by crashing yourself out front.
Yeah, that's definitely a horrible place to be in. Splash learned it last week and ended up going 2-2, so still not a horrible finish from last week, but you know Chase wanting to bounce back, having those two bad starts, going 5-6, really wants to get a moto win here, especially being one of the title favorites. And I was looking in chat, and it looks like AB Custom said they are telling Chase the timing by watching the stream, so that is how he is learning. But yeah, even whenever I was doing it, if I was watching someone, I would do that calculating thing and just tell them based off of that. But, you know, Splash, he looks to maybe have it under control for now. We'll see if he can set sail on Brad, or if Brad can even take a charge, as he actually goes down up ahead of him. So that is out of P2 for Brad. And Splash is going to end up back in P2. See if he can make a charge towards Chase. Might be timing and scoring a little messed up.
Well, look what, yeah, that's interesting why Brad has jumped to the lead there on timing and scoring. Maybe just because he was off track by the finish line?
Yeah, so that might have been it. Yep,
yeah,
now it's corrected itself.
Yep. Hey, knocking on the door of opportunity suddenly, though, is Washed, who has really found his way forward in this one. He is ahead of Cam on track, but does have some penalties still to his name that he's going to have to work through. But he's on to Brad, at least on track, for third place right now. So Washed settled down a little bit, and it seems like it's coming into play here late in this moto. He might have a shot at getting up there and battling at least for a good podium position, if not more.
Yeah, as he's trying to go side by side, both of them do have 2 seconds cuts. Down the inside goes Wash. Can he get the drive? It doesn't look like it. Brad might have a little bit better Does he close the door on him, though? That's the thing here. He sends it, and he does, so Wash is going to have to fall in line once again. But Cam also right behind him being close enough. He does have both of them off of cuts since he has none. So if he just stays close and be patient, he might be able to gain a few spots here by the end of it.
Yeah, this is a terrific fight, and Splash up ahead of him is not that far in the distance for them to even get up into a battle for second before long as they cross the finish line jump. 7 minutes still on the clock. And of course, those 2 laps at the end. But if you're Chase right now, that 16-second gap is starting to feel a bit more comfortable, especially if these guys start battling with each other. That could be the biggest help right now for Chase, is that no one really is breaking away and riding by themselves and putting down good lap times. They're still kind of playing defenses. Up the inside, Wash goes, trying to get alongside Brad. Brad uses the outside to his advantage and stays ahead. And then suddenly Brad on the Splash for second place. So here we go. This fight is on for P2.
Yeah, looking to have a 4-way battle here if Cam could get in on this, but Brad, we'll see. He might have some urgency here as he knows it's late in the moto. See if he can get him on these doubles here. Small case from splashing down. He goes on the right-hand side. He's going to lose mode position. So now Brad is going to move into P2. Wash is going to move into P3. And P4 for Cam might be a little bit mixed up once cuts come into play here. But Brad looking to take advantage of this and maybe try to pull away and maybe even give himself a chance if Chase has some mistakes out front.
Yeah, frustrating crash right there for Splash, trying to scrub those uphill doubles and just kind of got kicked forward over the bars he went. So now he has to settle back in on track in 5th place to try to come through these guys and make those passes. Still seems like Washed right now is the aggressor, and he finally makes that pass stick down the inside of Brad. Brad charges down the outside of the hill, though, to the inside line right here and gets him right back. Terrific back and forth action. Wash looks desperate to make this pass, though.
Yeah, he's looking to try to make a move, and like I said with Cam earlier, he has no cut, so if he just stays close, he gets 2 free spots and goes from 4th to 2nd off of it. But Wash trying to make something happen here. He's got 5 minutes left, and if he's not too worried about Chase out front, he does have a little bit of time to work with. That's 5 minutes plus 2 laps, so probably about 4 or 5 laps left for these guys, and we'll see what he can do. But he is right on that rear fender of Brad.
And this is a great fight for second place. Racing just so intense here in the FXR AOMX Championship. Look at this again down the inside for Wash. Does he shut the door? No, and they hit each other throwing scrubs. I don't know how they stayed up. I think that was a hand up by Brad just to say sorry for a minute, but they're still going at it. I can't believe this hasn't gone to blows just yet, because they've been nose to tail for laps upon laps, and somehow, some way, the battle continues.
Yeah, it is an amazing fight between these two. Wash trying to get something done. He missed signups last week for this race, so unfortunately he's also on that grind like TJ to try and pull himself back into this championship fight. But Brad, he's closing every door, not giving him many opportunities to go down the inside or even force his way past him, and he might be pulling a little bit of a gap there, it looks like.
Yeah, just a tiny bit further away than he was last time by through here, but look at Wash, man. The speed he carries into those rollers closes it right back up, and this is where he tried to make the pass last time by. This time, Brad able to hook that inside rut and get the power down the hill. So if you're Washed, I mean, goodness gracious, where are you going to make this pass? Because everywhere he's tried, Brad seems to have an answer.
Yeah, always seems to be closing the door, and these guys have elevated their pace. If they started to pull away from Cam to give himself a better shot, so this is the actual fight for P2 now. But Brad does have 1 more second of cuts after that lap, so he's going to have to pull away. As Wash looking down the inside, a little bit of touch there, pushes him off the track, and is able to take the line away from him and put himself into that P2 position.
Yeah, that was insane that worked out that way, because I thought Brad was going to go flying up the hill. Instead, he does corral it together and hang on for 3rd, but nice pass in the end for Wash to end up in 2nd place. Now he's got to try to get away from Brad, because, again, it could just be a few more corners where Brad is right back into the picture. And now if you're Brad, you even have the opportunity to try to learn some of those lines where maybe Wash was pulling on you to get into a position to fight as hard as he did. And then he could come back late in the race with a late race charge to get back into 2nd. So this is still far from over, and it's going to be good all the way down to the wires. We got Cam coming through in the 4th spot still back there. Hey, how about a little bit of a sneaky ride here coming from Willie? Looks like Splash is ahead of him on the track, but Willie just, chipping away now behind Brax. And I don't think he has many cuts comparatively based on the leaderboard right now. He might still have a shot at a top 5 here.
Yeah, he has no cuts compared to Splash having 5. So yeah, he definitely has that shot there with Brax right in front of him. He might have had a crash there, which might have been why he fell out of that P5 in the first place. But, you know, we'll see if he can mount back. He was your Moto 1 winner last week and had a bad Moto 2. So we'll see if he could bring it together and get 2 good Moto finishes to help himself even better in that points. But Brad, one of his title rivals, and Splash are both ahead of him right now.
Yeah, this is another good fight. Just everywhere you look, the battles are aplenty here at Hangtown. Looks like a lapped rider. Cat was getting up, and looks like a big mistake right there as Brax goes over the bars. So that gives a spot to Willie. And suddenly TJ back into the picture as well after all of his issues that he had coming together with Cam. And finally finding his way back into a fight for 6 right now behind Willie as they come over the finish line, jump together. So final 2 minutes plus 2 laps of this race. And it looks like the leader is all but checked out with Chase, but still so many battles all throughout this field. We're far from locked in all the way down the stretch of this one, Talon.
Yeah, there's still a minute and a half left, but it looks like there's going to be so many more battles. It all depends on if... it looks like actually Brad might have got past Washed again. So we missed that. Don't know what happened, or if he just straight up got past him, or a small mistake from Wash. But still many fights to come here. Like I said, still a minute and a half left. Got a minute left now. Probably about 3 laps left for these guys. But Chase all but, you know, wrap this one up as long as he could hold on for another 3 laps. Got a 20-second gap, looking like the preseason all over again. This might be one of the tracks that he actually likes compared to last week. So see if he could bring it back Moto 2 if he could wrap it up. But Wash looking to set a charge again on Brad and try to make another pass on him.
Tell you what, another thing I am noticing with both of these riders and obviously the other battles we've been watching is because the same lines are being used a lot around this racetrack, it's getting pretty gnarly in some of those main lines, particularly on the downhills. So I wonder if, at least maybe not by the end of this moto, but into that second moto, we'll start seeing some line changes coming up just from the simple fact that staying in this main line looks to be pretty brutal and kicking some guys out pretty bad.
Yeah, it is really a big risk, but a big reward, because hitting those same lines, you can still go roughly the same pace. But also, like I said, there is that bigger risk of crashing, and going to one of the slower lines, less risk of crashing, but a little bit slower. You saw earlier, Brad went to the outside on this downhill here that Wash is going to now. It's a little slower, but more smooth, so it just really depends on how confident you are on your suspension and your skills of keeping the bike together through this rough stuff.
Yeah, and maybe one of those things where you do start experimenting with the smooth lines just for consistency, but you still have those big inside lines all throughout the track to maybe Hail Mary a pass if you need to. Right now, these guys just trying to keep it on 2 wheels and maybe put a late race push down here at the end of this one. Time has now expired, so next time by, 2-lap board going out for our race leader, Chase. 20 seconds up the road still and getting through the lap traffic rather nicely, so this one looks to be set in stone. Meanwhile, it looks like Cam has really lost pace with these guys from second and third. He's still not that far back on penalties, but unless they get together, Cam might just miss the podium here in Moto 1.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with those small mistakes he had earlier. You just think about it, if you just kept the bike up earlier, would have a shot at battling with them. But if he feels like he can't catch them, this could be the time to experiment with those line choices, or even, you know, try to remember which ones you had for aerial if you used any alternate lines, having raced this track ready for 230s.
Yeah, so he's going to look around a little bit, try to figure some stuff out. We'll go back to the battle for the 5 spot. There's Splash, and Willie and TJ are inching up. Willie has him on cuts right now, but only by about a second, and he looks to be about 2 seconds behind him. And TJ closing it down strong here late in this race, the defending champion on the number 1 machine. Who you got in this little 3-rider fight right here, trying to get 5th in this moto?
I would go TJ, but, you know, I don't really know his pace as of late. And then also Willie, you know, he had a moto win last week, but we'll have to wait and see. It looks like we lost Splash somewhere, unless he pulled away.
Went flying off the track at the bottom of the hill right there. So 2 spots lost just like that.
Yeah, so it is definitely between these two, but Willie, you know, he has been fast in recent years. but you just never know with the consistency he has of going that 1.7 last week. We'll see if he could hold on as compared to TJ, who's just trying to find his swing of things again back into racing. He's looking to put a pass on Willie down the inside and over the bars he goes. Looks like he clipped his rear tire and unfortunately gave him rear end lock going down the hill and just goes over the bars. That's going to cost him a spot to splash. But now Willie has some open air and looking to go forward and, maybe stay ahead of Splash here.
Yeah, looks like that battle has stabilized just for the time being at least. Looks like Chase is on his way to take the white flag out front in just a minute. So let's go back to our battle for second and see them coming down the hill. Brad and Washed separated by, give or take, maybe 2.5, 3 seconds on the track right now. But I believe that Brad has some penalties, right? He has a few more than Washed does?
Yeah, Brad has 3 seconds and Washed has 2, so
it could come down to it at the end as Wash made a mistake. White flag is out, though, and our top 3 might just be all but locked in. Looks like Cam is getting close to Wash, though, so you never know if he could charge up late and get it close enough to sneak by him on penalties. We'll have to see how that one goes. But coming down the hill in the race lead, Chase has got this thing covered, and I mean, you mentioned it, though. A little bit more comfortable on the track this week goes a long way. And in the end, when we thought this race could come down to the wire, Chase has opened it up and absolutely dominated the second half of this race. Quite a performance here for the number 11 machine out front.
Yeah, it's always, great. You always see how fast he is, especially in NA, having Rax moved over to EU. He's been, absolutely setting the world on fire in NA. I think he won 9 out of the 11 rounds this year. He won the final round going 1-1 on a Suzuki. So, I mean, no doubt he has some pace, and he's really shown it here, beating your new points leader and even helped himself in the points. But, not as much as he probably would have won again, but, still a great ride from Chase. And finally having a good start here really helps him out.
Yeah, it's no kidding. The good start, massively different than what we saw last week, and could be the catalyst in and of itself to what we're seeing here in Moto 1. Here it is. Chase takes the win here. 450 Moto 1 of the AOMX FXR Championship at Hangtown. That is your big winner here of Moto number 1. Well done to Chase. Let's see this battle between Brad as he goes by the bottom of the screen and Wash coming to the flag. Looks like Brad is going to cross the line in second. Does he get him on penalties? Wash crosses the line in third, and yes, he does in the end still beat him. Cam got pretty close, but not close enough. Ends up fourth after all is said and done. And then this Willie and TJ battle coming down to the flag. Let's see who's got it. TJ got by. Splash got by Willie as well. How it's going to play out with penalties. TJ crosses the line fifth. Splash officially will be behind him. And how far back did Willie fall? It might be too far back. Yes, it is. And so TJ holds on for fifth, Splash sixth, and Willie seventh. As more riders come across the line, Doug, Brax, Braden trying to round out our top 10 right now. But, man, TJ clutching up to get back into the top 5 right there.
Yeah, really gave himself, like I said, that better chance. He had a decent start, but unfortunately just mistakes with people around him. But, I mean, still a good result in your first race back, and we'll see how much more he can, improve in that Moto number 2.
So more riders still coming across the finish line here to complete our first moto. And again, unofficially, Chase picks up the win over Brad, Washed, Cam, TJ, Splash, Willie, Doug, Brax, and actually Silva able to sneak by Braden late there and get into the top 10. Braden slips to 11th, Daryl in 12th, Jordan W. coming across the line right there in 13th. Looks to be the last rider on the lead lap. Then it was Rye Guy, Dr. Geo, Dizzle, Reed, Cam, Gooey, and Zach inside of our top 20 points position. So, hey, Dizzle, our guy in the points. Got some good rides in there on this first moto.
He's 16. Better than last week. So,
yeah, do you think he's going to be happy, or is he still going to be like, gosh, these guys are so fast?
I feel like he might be a little upset that Dr. Geo beat him, but other than that, he might be a little bit more happy having a better result.
We'll maybe hear from him in between breaks here. Maybe not. But, of course, if you're just tuning in for the first time, got a little 5-minute break coming up here as race 1 comes to a close. And we rack him up again for race number 2, another 30+2 coming up. These guys don't get much rest, but at least enough to maybe take the hands off the controller for a little bit and rest those fingertips. I mean, I know as well as you do how much it can lock your hand in a little bit if you're in a heated battle and then the race comes to an end and you're trying to feel your hands again for a moment there. So I think all these guys are just parked and trying to reset for Moto 2.
Yeah, getting all the sweat off of them, all that that good stuff. Making sure you don't got too many fans on so your hands aren't freezing whenever you're racing. It's
yeah.
all the delicate things us racers go through.
Exactly, yeah. So Chase, our big winner in Moto number 1, the charged KTM, good-looking machine right here. He's actually number 11 in this series, but got the 19 on that bike right there. And, yeah.
All because I told him he couldn't run 19.
Why not? Why can't he run 19?
Because I wanted it.
Oh, man.
My number, just for me to not even race. I realized that as soon as round 1 happened, I was like, I really told him no, just for me to not race.
Well, what I think you should do then is you should protest him and say, well, since he ran your number, you get his scores.
Right?
Yep. So I think you just won the first moto. Congrats, Talon. Well done. 19 on top.
Let's go. Moto victory.
All right, so they're going to reset and give these guys a little bit of a practice mode. Of course, no touch on the racetrack. We don't want it to get any rougher from here. But these guys are going to just re-rack here in a few minutes, and we'll go racing for Moto number 2. So actually, jump to a quick commercial break. We'll be back on the other side of this one. You're watching the AOMX Championship, brought to you by FXR. Is coming this fall, and if you haven't been paying attention, you're missing out. A whole new game designed from the ground up by a super team of MX Bikes modders. Motocross the game will feature realistic physics, and it will be available on consoles as well as PC. What you're watching here is some alpha gameplay from the team as they continue to make steps towards a complete game at launch. Don't wait any longer and be the first in line by pre-ordering the game now through the link in the description below, and be sure to use the code SYSMTG, that's SYSMTG, all one word, when you check out to get 2% off your pre-order. We can't wait to shred this exciting new game with you all very soon. Welcome back, everyone. Round 2 of the AOMX FXR Championship in MX Bikes. Kellen Brower and Talon in the booth here, bringing you guys the action from Hangtown. Moto 1 in the books. Chase claims the win in Moto number 1, and everyone else behind him looking to rebound in Moto 2. What's it going to take, Talon, to dethrone that victory that we just saw from Chase? Domination in the second half of Moto 1.
Well, I mean, all you really have to do is, if we look at last week, is hope he gets a bad start. That's one thing that held him back last week. He finally got, I think it was top 5 this week, and it helped him out massively. So, I mean, if you want an easy way out of it, it's just hoping he gets a bad start. But, maybe staying ahead of him longer. Unfortunately, Splash lost it, I think, with 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes left. So just holding on a little longer, and maybe if he does get by you, attach a rope and maybe try to stick with them. And unfortunately, all those crashes those guys had gave him a pretty big lead as soon as he got into that lead position.
Yeah, we'll see if really it just comes down to starts, like you said. But also some of these guys, we saw a bad start from TJ in this one, ended up having to do a lot of battling, see if he can get off to the gate well. And also Cam as well. Limit the mistakes in Moto 2, try to get up there, battle with those guys as well. Cam actually checking in the chat says he's convinced his brain is on a different planet at this time of night. WTF. So got to bring it back to planet Earth, set the brain on planet Earth, and then go out and win Moto 2 if you're Cam here.
Yeah. After Brad getting that P2, it does move him from only 1 point at a splash to 8, who's still second. And then now Chase is 11 points back after getting those 3 points on him from 14.
So there you go, Brad. Actually extending the championship lead and looking good doing so. We'll see if he can hold on to the red plate here in Moto 2 coming up in just a few minutes. We got some good people hanging out in the chat tonight. Love to see the support here on the stream. iCable just says he came back because his son wasn't going to sleep, so he had to go put the son down. And then also Transcend is here. I thought Transcend was actually racing this, and then he's in chat. So where'd he go?
Probably doing both, I hope.
Yeah, maybe. Don't see him out on the track right now. A few names we didn't see up there, though. Dariel, who was up near the front of The motos at Unadilla had a bad first moto here. And this one looking to rebound as well. And, Transcend, a little thing called Alt F4, baby. Yeah, just ejecto Cedo Cuz from the game. Called it a night early, so that's all right. Atom supports Papa K wherever he goes. That's why I support my guy Atom wherever he goes. You still making music, Adam? Is that still, you still got the Atom EPs dropping and all that stuff? Always good to see ya. You ever listen to an Atom song, Talon?
I think I don't know. I knew he made music, but I haven't listened to much. I knew he made music, but I don't think I've listened to any of his stuff.
Well, he says he's not making music much anymore. He's a big entrepreneur guy now. So there you go, Atom, making it big in the entrepreneurial world. Good luck to him. And Dr. Gio also checking in, says he was just happy that he did not DNF. So there you go. All right, Moto2 coming at you, brought to you by FXR. Check out FXRRacing.com for their full line of gear for the 2026 season, I should say. And, of course, they bring you the AOMX Championship here in MX Bikes. We got TJ down the far inside, Cam, Chase, Willie, Brad, Splash, Brax, Daryl, KFC, Caden, Braden, Washed, Rye Guy, Reed, Dr. Gio, Jordan W, Doug, Dizzle, Silva, Dorian Moreau, Cat, Posty, Gooey, Cam, Zach, and Krusty. It's race 2 of the AOMX FXR Championship from round 2 at Hangtown. Who's going to get off the gate first and lead us into turn number 1? Time to drop that 30 card sideways, get these revs up, and go racing here at Prairie City. Let's drop the gate here at Hangtown. Send them fired into turn number 1. Let's go racing. Looks like out of the middle again. I see Reed poke his nose out there. Is he going to control it through? No, he gets shoved wide, and KFC grabs the whole shot this time through. So KFC with the early lead. Splash, another good start in second. TJ third, trying to get down the inside to move into second place as Splash goes to the lead. TJ to the front at the top of the hill.
Yeah, great start for him. He was kind of buried the last moto, so good to see him out front early, see what he could do with it. But he does have a bunch of riders behind him. Wash, he's got Chase. It looks like he went down on the downhill, so that's a bad start for him now after it was a top 5. But TJ has to hold off all of the riders of Splash, Wash. He's got Jordan W, Dorian Merritt, Doug, all these guys behind him. We'll see what he can do now with clear air and try to pull away from these guys as Wash is looking to send it down the inside. Yeah,
Wash right behind him is a little mistake from TJ at the top of the hill. Cost him some time, and Wash was ready to pounce, trying to get into the lead, but not able to do so just yet. Splash also going with them as they hang up in that corner just a little bit. Nobody goes down, fortunately. Definitely a bit of time lost as everyone settles in behind them. TJ leads over that single jump, and look at Wash trying to get down the inside. Swings out wide right here, trying a different line. Again, we're seeing these lines change up a little bit here in Moto2, most likely thanks to the road changing the nature of this racetrack as the night goes on, and it's only going to get rougher from here, so I'm sure we're going to see even more line changes. But TJ controlling the front from Wash still on lap number 1.
Yeah, he's trying to pull away from it, but Wash not letting him go. A little kicker, bad kicker there. It goes over the berm. Wash is going to go into the lead. Splash is going to get by 2. So now Wash has the early race lead like he did at Moto 1. Let's see if he could hang on to it or if this crash is going to start crawling back on him.
Well, speaking of crashes, a mistake from Splash will cost him P2. He goes back to 4th, and there's our championship leader, Brad, now putting his face at the front of this field. He's up to 3rd at the end of lap number 1. Looks like Posty inside of the top 5 from Rye Guy. Chase in 7th at the end of lap number 1, your Moto number 1 winner. So not the worst start for Chase, but also some heavy hitters that he's got to go run down out front.
Yeah, especially with Wash and TJ having a little bit of a gap. It's pretty big gap starting to form with Brad in 3rd, but we'll see what Chase can do here. He was up there early, top 5, went down on this downhill actually just to the left, and unfortunately did cost him some time, and he's down once again back here, so he's going to lose even more time as people are running into him.
Just can't get going as Dr. Gio ends up going by. Dariel's back here. Jordan W. now alongside of him as well. And Chase getting hit. Goes flipping off the track. He got hit by Jordan W., who hooked a right on the takeoff of that jump. And now it's a disaster start for Chase, who's slipping way down the order as they check in through the second timing and scoring slot. Not sure where he's going to fall to, but man, oh man, even outside of the points, he's outside the top 20.
Yeah, I might have to keep an eye on that, see if it was intentional or just a poor scrub, but we'll wait and see if Chase can make a big charge back up to the front as Washed and TJ are starting to pull away now.
Yeah, Washed now getting a bit of a gap established on TJ at the front as they're coming down this back straightaway. Not too far out in front, but I think a little bit of penalties already for TJ, if I'm not mistaken. Was he off the track on lap 1 on the outside right there? Cost him a couple seconds as well?
Yeah, it looks like it gave him about a second of cuts there, so that might be costly more towards the end if he continues to get any more. Right now, it might be costing him big time, but he might just settle into a pace. We'll see what he can do if he'll just attach onto Washed or not, or try to make a pass here early once again and try to, get some clear air like he was trying to do at the beginning of the moto.
Well, the same corner that bit him on lap 1 just bit him again. He just yard sailed before the mechanics area. That's going to cost him 2 more positions as Brad and Splash both go by. So now Washed starting to open up the gap at the front of the field, and Splash, another mistake. He crashed at the end of Moto 1 on the same corner before the first uphill and does it again, rejoins and makes contact with Posty. They both go down. That's going to cost both of them some spots. Now Posty's doing some pirouettes on the uphill, trying to get going again. He's going to have to cut the track, lose a few more positions, and he's going to be really bummed about that because he was battling inside of the top 5. Suddenly he is in a world of hurt back here with some more guys outside of the top 10 even.
Yeah, he's not going to like that track re-entry. We'll see if he makes a protest about it or not, but, unfortunately poor track re-entry for him, but, even a better result from Brad here. It's going to help him out big time in the championship as he's fighting 2 guys that unfortunately missed round 1. So all of his title, competitors are just all kind of buried or having some sort of mistakes, and it's really looking good for him here.
Yeah, TJ and Washed either side of him, as you mentioned, not at the opening round of this championship, but of course number 1 and 2 from the championship season last year. So they are showing their faces back at the front of this field once again and doing some serious damage, while Brad just already maybe in a little bit of a championship mode, not thinking too much about them. Of course, he wants to go win this race, but that red plate looking pretty solidified on his bike, at least unless something dramatic happens. Speaking of drama, we might have a change to the lead as Wash lays it down, and suddenly 3 riders nose to tail coming to the flag here at the end of lap number 3. It is still Wash leading, but Brad and TJ going at it for second place behind him.
Yeah, Brad's got to be careful. He wants to, maybe make a move on Wash, but if he makes a time mistake trying to go for one, TJ looking down the inside, see if he can make something happen here. He might, but he doesn't get the drive up the hill, so he's going to have to settle back into P3. But something like that, if Brad's going for a pass on Wash and he makes a tiny mistake while doing so, TJ's right there to capitalize.
And different line options again, thanks to how much this track has changed over the course of the first moto and into moto number 2. Inside, outside options at the bottom of the downhill. Still everyone going far inside here at the top, but even kind of reestablishing a new line way inside of that inside line. Let's see if anything different at the bottom of the hill. Well, not by choice, as down goes Brad. He misses the inside rut. That's going to cost him second place. TJ scoots on by, and now it's Washington TJ back out front again, ready to duke it out for the moto win.
Yeah, but we'll see if Brad starts going into championship mode. It is only round 2, but everyone around him, like I said earlier, first and second didn't show up round 1. Guy in 4th also wasn't there round 1, and guy in 3rd right now unfortunately went DNF 9 at round 1 and DNF again moto 1. So, if he goes into championship mode, I wouldn't really blame him with everyone around him not being really big title threats at the moment, but he also could be going to try to capitalize as many points as possible early and maybe try to look at give himself big enough breathing room if these guys somehow get into the championship fight.
Yeah, I never quite know what's going to happen later in this season with these guys as they maybe start coming back and winning these races. Of course, they could claw some of those points back in a hurry, and right now they're doing the deed out front. Washington TJ 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Chase, who was outside the top 20, is already back to 9th place. He just got by Braden as they're coming through the back section of the racetrack, so we'll keep an eye on that from an overall standpoint. But I have a feeling this Washington TJ battle is far from done. TJ looks like he has got his eyes fixated on the race leader and wants to go catch that number 2 machine out front.
Yeah, these guys mostly battling, like I said, last year being 1 and 2 in the title last year, and I think in moto number 1 these guys were battling hard back there, or at least for a little bit until TJ had mistakes with Cam and Wash was able to get up there early. But we saw TJ have pace in moto number 1, and it looks like he's showing it here. And if you get around, we'll see if he could work with anything out there, if he's going to try to look for different lines that are maybe smoother to help himself here. His Wash mistake gets a kicker wrong, And TJ is going to come along upside him up to this quad, see if both of them can get it here. Wash didn't get the drive, might have cased it a little bit, but TJ is going to go into the lead in this moto number 2 here.
I saw a cheeky little look over there from TJ as he pulled up alongside, giving a look to Wash, taking over the race lead. Wash trying to fight back to the inside, and now we're starting to see different options presenting themselves because the track is so rough in that main line now. So Wash shooting back to the outside here, lands off the track. Can he cut back across though and get a drive down this back straightaway? No, he kind of hooks up on that rut a little bit, and that gives a little bit of breathing room to TJ. So now, if you're Washed and you're in this position, once again, we saw TJ make a couple of mistakes out front to give him the lead in the first place. How do you kind of approach this? Do you maybe let TJ try to, run away and maybe make that mistake again? Or can you follow along and find his lines here, you think?
Yeah, it might really depend on if he does have a leaderboard up or not, because he will see that he does have Tyler J on cuts. Actually, he doesn't now. I think that off track cost him some cuts. So unfortunately, he does have to make a move here to try to pull away from him and beat him at the end. Actually, they're about the same. They both got a second of cuts. So now it really depends on how urgent he is. We still got 20 minutes left. So if he really wants to pass now, he might have to think of one quickly. But if not, he could just hang here and try to hope and find some lines here or find some rough spots that he could be quicker than.
Yeah, and thanks to those crashes from Brad, it is certainly these two that have opened it up from the rest of the field. They are 9 seconds clear of Brad, who's not even going up the uphill triple. There he is now in the background as they go down the hill. So it's really between these two, and looks like maybe a little mistake from TJ getting sideways the same way Wash did on the uphill. Wash not able to capitalize, but he did close that gap down a little bit more. So bit of a cat and mouse game going on right now. They're having a chess match out front. I have a mistake, you have a mistake, he, she, we all have a mistake, and then the battle continues. So let's see what's going to happen here in these next couple of laps as Wash now sitting in the shadow of our race leader TJ, trying to learn some lines from him.
Yeah, it all just really matters. TJ does have fast lap of the race, so a 43.3 compared to Wash's 44.9, but we'll see what they run in this lap as Wash might have closed in just a tiny bit after losing some in that middle sector, but looks like he's starting to lose a little bit more of a touch here in this last sector. As long as TJ can avoid those bumps that you see are kind of big there towards this downhill. But we'll wait and see what TJ can do if he's going to try to run away as Wash. Down he goes in that deep rut. Fortunately, it caught his front tire and down he goes, but he has big enough breathing room. It looks like it was 16 seconds to Brad. So now he's just kind of in no man's land between himself, or between Brad and Tyler J.
Yeah, and it just, again, goes to show this track is getting rougher by the second. That time, it finally catches him out. Looks like KFC got around Brad on the track. And, yeah, that is actually for position because the penalties are similar between the two of them. So KFC up into the 2 spot. His teammate there on the Ashika program. Good ride for KFC, who we did not see much of in the first moto. A bit of a rough go for him in moto number 1, but now into a podium position in moto 2. Know much about him, Talon, because I have no idea.
He's always been kind of like quick. He's had basically that top 5 pace for a while now. It just really depends on the inconsistency. He does have a tendency to be a little hated by a couple riders just from being an aggressive rider. He's not afraid to really rub elbows with anyone, kind of that Barsha style. He could run top 5 any given day, but he's not afraid to, shove someone out the way if need be.
It looks like he's going to have a battle on his hands with his teammate Brad here in just a moment. And Splash still sitting in the background as Brad jumps down the inside. What a move. Didn't expect him to try it there, but a mistake from KFC allowed the opportunity for Brad to get up the inside and move his way back into 3rd place. Kind of seems like they might also be working together a little bit as teammates to, not aggressively battle with each other too much and allow Splash to get back into the fray here, though. But they might not have a choice. Splash looks like he is on it, trying to get back into position again.
Yeah, he's probably going to force something here. He does have a little bit of a drive here on KFC and sees him now. There's that saying, it's always easier to chase a rider down when you have him in your sights, and it looks like Splash is setting that pace quickly. Try to make something happen, dive down the inside. He hits the rut nicely. He's going outside here, it looks like, so maybe hitting already some different lines. You saw that inside did collect Washed earlier, but Splash might be trying to set something up, and he's looking down the inside as he's right on that rear fender now.
Yeah, just trying to figure out where he can even make that pass because, again, kind of funnels back to some one-line areas, a few places on this track. Also, update for those of you that keeping an eye out on Cam, who is in the top 5 of our first moto. He is out of moto number 2. Just actually dropped by our chat and literally said Cam is out. So sad end to his evening here, but 2 a.m. in the UK, always tough to get the job done. KFC up the inside of his teammate Brad. They throw dualies on the uphill triple, and it's Brad who's going to hang on, but KFC able to sneak away from Splash ever so slightly, and instead seems to be back on his teammate in a battle for third again.
Yeah, thing on Cam, he did say he does have work later today, as it is still the morning for him, so he was thinking of already going back to bed after this, so that might be a reason to give him to get off. But KFC, we'll see if he's going to play defense for his teammate who is the points leader, or if he's going to try to make something happen if he thinks he has the pace on him or not. But it really just depends for him. But Splash losing a little bit of touch here, but he does have to worry about Willie, who's behind him now in that P6 spot.
Yeah, it's still pretty close here. The leaders have gotten away, but I mean, you look at this, you got Brad, KFC, Splash, and then Willie, like you mentioned, pretty much nose to tail. Then another gap back to Chase. So Chase has made it all the way to 7th. He's ahead of Rye Guy now and can see that group up ahead of him, although it is a bit of a distance to get there. So do you actually have an update right now, Talon, on what we're looking at for overalls? Because I think Brad is in a pretty good position still right now, right?
Yeah, trying to calculate it real quick. It looks like actually Brad and Wash are going to be tied.
Okay.
So Wash looks to be P1, Brad is going to be P2, and looking at it, TJ might be 3. He also might be 1 with the 5-1. So it really will see. I'll have to calculate that a little bit more, but yeah, it's going to be your top 3 right now in the race are looking to be your top 3 in overall.
All right, so that is how it'll shake out, at least for now. We'll see whether or not Chase can get up into this group and, of course, lower his score on the day. Brad, KFC, and Splash still pretty much nose to tail going up the uphill, and it's now 10 seconds over Wash for TJ out front. So this is really the fight to watch on the racetrack. And Splash, knocking on the door once again, has found the rear fender of KFC, trying to get into 4th place here.
Yeah, Wash went down up ahead of him, so he's slowly falling back to this group here. But KFC trying to defend from Splash. Splash able to get down the inside as KFC misses a rut, but he's able to hold on to it. So we'll wait and see what he can do. Splash looking around the outside, going to set himself up for the inside here. See if he can get a run. He can't. The track might be a little too rough there, so KFC looking to hold on here for that P4 on track, but mistake. And Splash just all the way around the outside, a little Tomac-esque right there, going around the outside, just powering it. Able to make the pass done.
Yeah, opportunistic, because it seemed like he was just trying not to follow KFC, and it worked out because KFC got way out of shape on that inside rut, almost fell all the way to the outside rut into Splash's line, but Splash, fortunately for his sake, was already through the rut. And just like that, a mistake for Splash allows KFC back by. Back and forth we go here at Hangtown, and these guys are just going at it, trying to hold on for this 4th spot. Now KFC gets a little bit out of shape, and Splash right back there again. Brad getting away ahead of these guys thanks to this battle, though, really helping him out right now.
Yeah, it's really helping him out, and Wash trying to pull away from him even more. It is a 16-second gap between TJ and Washed out front. So wait and see if he could hold on. You do see Chase kind of in the background here, slowly gaining on Splash as he is up to P6 now ahead of Willie. So got to keep an eye out on your Moto1 winner, who's slowly crawling his way back as KFC. Small mistake. So Splash trying to get by up the hill. Do either of them get a run? They both barely clear that triple, and we'll see down the inside goes Splash. Does he take the line away? KFC cuts him off, shuts the door, almost chops his front end, and he's just weaving all across the track here, trying to hold the position. And Splash just absolutely sends it and cleans his front tire, and here comes Chase now, looking to get by him now because of that.
Yeah, that's a big win right there for Chase, but then Chase goes over the bars. I think some contact there with Splash. Willie is going to end up going back by, and also Rye Guy hanging out in the background. What do we think of that aggressive move from Splash? I guess just sick and tired of dealing with the lag of KFC ahead of him?
Yeah, he might be just tired of sitting behind him, as he has lost a bunch of spots to him. He's given Brad about 5 seconds as Brad actually got past Washed up ahead. So, he might have just been tired of sitting behind him for these past about 5 minutes here, and might have finally hit a breaking point for him.
Yeah, just absolutely sending it down the inside, and it doesn't work out at all because they both go down and KFC gets up still ahead of him. So here we go again. They're still battling, now even lost more ground to the lead group up ahead, and Splash still not able to get by KFC just yet. Meanwhile, Washed and Chase going at it. Rye Guy right behind them as well. So 5 riders nose to tail all the way up to our 4 spot right now on the racetrack. And I think there is going to be even more drama coming here as Splash tries to get back around KFC again.
Yeah, we might see some penalties be given out if anything else happens here. But if you're Splash, already attempting that once, you got to think he might have to do it again. Otherwise, KFC might retaliate if he gets past him clean this time. So you never know what's going to happen. He might... as he goes over the bars, he clips that white banner there and goes over the bars, and Willie and Chase are going to get by. And he hops back on track poorly and takes himself out instead of Rye Guy.
Oh, he's got to be heated right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him. Just unfortunately, too upset over KFC is costing those mistakes for him.
So yeah, that let a lot of guys go by. KFC still holding on to 4th. Willie on track is ahead of Chase, but Chase has him on penalties, so that would be obviously for 5th right now for Chase. And then Rye Guy moves up to 6th as Splash drops all the way back to the 7th spot, or actually, I should say, Rye Guy moves up to 7th, Splash back to 8th, at least on the track. We'll have to see what penalties do to that in just a moment. Looking up ahead at Brad, who, as you mentioned, got around Washed. Not sure where that happened, but it seems as though Washed is starting to run into a bit of struggles here on this racetrack. I don't know if it's just coming up and biting him or if he's pushing too hard trying to stay with TJ, but rough few laps for him has cost him not only a lot of time, but now 2nd on the racetrack. Is he going to be able to settle in here and try to hold on for 3rd, or are these guys coming behind going to make life difficult for him?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Brad was making some mistakes I saw just up ahead of Wash, so I mean, it does depend. They do got it looks about a 10-second gap to Chase now behind him, as Wash another mistake at the top of that hill. So yeah, this track is just not favoring him. Whether it's the roughness or just the pace you have to go in the roughness, I'm not too sure, but we'll have to wait and see if he could hold on to this position or if he's going to lose even more time just for making more mistakes trying to catch Brad, as he is able to see him right in front of him.
This could get interesting. And again, if they get into each other, KFC and Chase are hoping to get up there late and make some passes. This could all come into play for the overall as well, because with Wash falling back, right, that gives Brad the overall, at least for now. Things could still change, but Brad in a pretty good position as it runs, and looking to extend his championship lead in this moto. Looking pretty good for him so far. I think he's got to be pretty stoked with how this is all played out.
Yeah, I think he's got to be pretty happy. Obviously with that good result last week, good result this week, and looking to extend a points lead. And, Wash, he is trying to get himself back into this title, so I wouldn't be too upset with it. Obviously, he's going to kick himself, for making those mistakes and cost himself a chance at a better result, or even a P1 as Brad down at the bottom of the hill. So Wash is going to get by again, and that might be for the overall win here.
Yeah, back and forth we go between these two. Going to come down to it at the end of this whole thing, unless they push themselves back and it allows Chase or TJ to maybe win this thing. Of course, Chase 1-5 right now, and TJ 5-1, I believe, is how the scores shake out. So these guys going 2-3, 3-2, they have the upper hand by a nose, but not by much, so it could still change at any moment. By the way, Crit in chat wants to know what the track name is. This is Rancho Cordova, ARL Round 2, Rancho Cordova on the MX Bikes shop page. So if you want to head over there and check out the track, we call it Hangtown IRL, but obviously change the name up a little bit in the game, and that's where you're able to get it.
I do want to point out with Chase getting around KFC, that might have given him, I'm going to double check, but that might have given him the overall. Because right now, a 5-1 from TJ puts him 1 point behind Brad and Wash. I'm going to double check if that 1-4 will help him out. Yeah, it does. He is going to be 1 point ahead of Brad and, is it Wash?
Yeah, so Brad has to get back into second to win the overall. 2-2 would be to 1-4. But Another thing at play here is that Chase is actually not ahead of KFC on the racetrack. He's just ahead of him on cuts. So as Chase continues to work forward, he's also got to actually try to make a pass stick if he wants to get up there and battle Brad and Wash on the racetrack as well. Coming down to 7 minutes and 2 laps left to go in this race, though. You might just be wondering if any of these guys are thinking about settling into their position and hoping the math works out. Obviously, if you're Chase, could still come into play that you win this race. But Brad is going to keep Washed honest all the way to the checkered flag and might even be putting on a late run himself to just take second place over and not even need to worry about it.
Yeah, Chase is really relying on Wash to stay ahead of him. He does have, I think, 1 more second of cuts than Brad. So, you know, that is what Wash has to do, is beat him by a whole second. And Chase, it's not always the greatest feeling having someone else work for it, but Wash is down at the first downhill, and Brad is now right beside him looking down the inside. This is a pass for the overall victory here, and even more points down the inside. Wash going around the outside trying to get a slingshot up the hill, both scrubbing a little bit of dualies action over that triple there. And then we got Brad looking to close the door to get by him around the outside. These two are side by side. A little slide out from Wash there. He's definitely not using those cheats. And then we got Brad looking down the inside, and he's going to able to take that P2 spot and try to pull away, but Wash still fighting hard here.
Oh, and look at Brad trying to come over and block the line, but then he opens it up and allows Wash to get up the inside, makes the pass back, so it's still not over, as this fight for second, which is ultimately the overall win, is a hot and heavy battle, and it is a good one. Meanwhile, Splash, also out of this moto now, unofficially will be scored 18th, but he came in our chat and said had to get his get back on KFC for cross-jumping him as Wash crashes out of third place, and Brad looks like he's got some breathing room, but here comes Chase, and third would get it done. A 1-3 beats a 2-2, so here we go.
Yeah, he's really taken this overall into his own hands. Like I said, it's not the best feeling having to worry about someone else to give you the overall, but it looks like Chase might have it. He does have 1 less second of cuts than Washed here, so all he has to do is stay within that second to get him, but it looks like he has more pace and might be trying to make a move here and move into that P3 spot for sure, at least on track, and give himself a chance. He's around the outside, scrubbing the table, Washed off track. Into P3 goes Chase.
Yeah, I have to imagine if you're Chase here and you know what your speed was in the first moto, you don't want to leave an opportunity to win the overall on the table, so he is just full send mode right now, trying to make as many passes as possible and lock this thing down, not even give Brad a chance. So he is officially up to third on the racetrack, and that 1-3 will get the job done to Brad's 2-2. Now, third overall is becoming a bit of a question mark. I'd have to imagine TJ back into play here, right? Because of the 1-5 to a 2-4 out of Wash. But now, as I say that, Chase goes off the track at the bottom of the hill and Wash back into third place. So it is yo-yoing all the time, not only who's going to get on the podium, but who's going to win this race.
Yeah, I believe TJ would get him with that 1-5. So Wash is fighting for a chance on the overall, and Chase is fighting for a chance for P1 overall. So two people, it is fighting for money still, as we announced last week. So Chase, it's going from, I think it is a P3 overall. So he's going to go from, earning $10 to 25, and Wash is going to go from nothing to $10. So it really is a fight for actual money for these guys, and Chase trying to run him down. Like I said, just has to stay within that second. And he's trying to Wash down, and he takes Chase with him. Chase, unfortunately, collides with him.
I saw Chase swing out and try to jump over his bike, and it just did not work. And look who is back in the picture. KFC jumps over both of them on the big triple leap and moves into third place on the racetrack. He does have a little bit of penalties at play, though, so I don't think that affects the standing just yet. But now Chase is down again at the top of the hill and is losing touch with these guys.
Yeah, he has 3 minutes to work it back, but Wash going down the inside, trying to cut across, block the track from KFC, but he can't get it done. So now these two are fighting, but KFC has 5 seconds of cuts compared to Wash's 2. So right now it's really just a fight to hold him up and not really for position here. But we'll wait and see what Wash can do, if he's going to send it and try to make quick work of him or not.
This is a good fight now, as KFC has just landed himself back in the picture here, going at it with Wash, and this uphill is getting so choppy as KFC defended the inside, which was good at the start, but then that lack of drive going through the rough stuff on the uphill is brutal. Wash down the inside, trying to get a run up alongside of him, but KFC uses that outside line to slingshot back into the position, and and they're still side by side at the top of the hill. Wash trying to force him out, makes that pass stick. He's back into third place. What a move.
Yeah, Wash trying to make quick work. Like I said, KFC does have that reputation. We saw it earlier with Splash kind of cross-jumping a little bit, and unfortunately getting in that little bit of drama with Splash. But Wash trying to make quick work. He did, and now he's trying to pull away his KFC a little bit of sideways, able to hold on to it, but Wash doesn't want anything to do with him and is trying to just set sail and maybe give himself that bit of breathing room here.
Yeah, and if you're Chase, you got to be super frustrated with how this has played out, because he had his own destiny controlled. If he could just beat Wash on the racetrack, and then a couple costly mistakes might also cost him the overall. So Wash back into third place right now at 2-3. I do believe beats the 1-5 of TJ, so he's back into a podium position. Looks like KFC just made a mistake, and yes, Chase has gotten back by him as well. So KFC officially down to P5 on the racetrack as well. So Chase 1-4, Washed 2-3, Brad 3-2, and TJ, who's on a 5-1 right now, might even miss the podium, which is crazy, all things considered, of how these overalls are stacking up today. And Chase now just going to eye up Wash and try to go run him down again here in this final couple minutes, and 2 laps still on the clock.
Yeah, right now Brad trying to hold on. He does have that 2-2 and a bit of breathing room, so he is going to win your overall unless Chase can make a move here on Wash, as he's trying to. So it's really Chase controlling everything for this overall here. He has to make a move on Wash, but he does have a bit of time to gain and only half a minute and 2 laps left to get it done. So all eyes are on him, and see if he could put a charge forward and try to catch these guys.
Lap traffic a little bit in play here as well, as Wash is sitting behind Cat right now. Cat 13th place. Good ride for him. It is a lap down. And Wash just trying to take his time, not get involved as he clips him and saves it. What a save by Wash. Doesn't get the quad now on the uphill. And Chase is going to get that little bit closer, but now Chase also misses the quad, so he's going to get stuck behind Cat for a minute. And Lappers also struggling to get around this racetrack, could be at play with these guys trying to just get around them in the first place, because they might not want to get in the way, but the racetrack might just hold them in and force them to be in the way for a little bit longer than they want to be.
Yeah, it is kind of challenging once these tracks get really rough to move out the way, especially if you're trying to hold on to a line. Oh, and Chase, he clips that white barrier, goes down over the bars. That might seal it for him to hold on to P2 in the overall. So unless something drastic happens, it's looking like Brad might win for the second week in a row, with TJ getting 3rd overall, and it looks like Chase is going to hold on for a P2, I believe, but he goes down once again, so that might cost it for him.
Yeah, he's going to slip back behind KFC on track. I don't know if that's going to be enough for KFC to get him positioning-wise with the penalties that are still at play right here. Going to just check in across the line and see if it does change it. Yes, KFC by a second right now has Chase, which unofficially I think gives TJ 2nd overall in this race. So another thing to consider right there. Things are really starting to open up, though, as it looks like Wash just went down again at the bottom of this uphill. So suddenly KFC not going to be too far behind him. Chase still trying to close that gap up just a little bit more. And then Brad all by himself in 2nd place. But meanwhile, long gone out front is TJ, as he is coming down by the mechanics area. 37 seconds out front. Think he's not a little bit fired up after what happened in that first moto, Talon?
Oh yeah, definitely. Or he's just getting the swing of things, finally got the fingers warmed up and ready to go here. But I mean, he's showing he is going to be out of work and mostly playing this game, probably going for the championship. So he's showing these guys that he's here to play and fight for the rest of this championship here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you miss the first round. If you can go out and win every moto after that, it certainly puts you in as a player for this championship hunt. And TJ just trying to get around Dr. Gio and lap him here on the final lap. And he'll have clear racetrack up ahead of him. 38 seconds, though. I mean, it's crazy with how intense some of the action was early in these races that the gaps opened up in both motos the way that they did, because it felt like this racetrack is going to hold everyone together for much longer. But TJ just putting on a clinic in Moto 2. More impressive is this ride, or do you think Chase's first moto getting away late was?
It's hard to say. I mean, TJ got the start and checked out. He's lapped up to 9th now, so I mean, that's impressive in it of itself, but Chase, I mean, he did have to work around a few guys, as TJ did have that, obviously he was second off the start compared to Chase's fifth. I mean, it's really hard to say, but TJ might be putting on a little bit of a better showing, just absolutely checking out almost 40 seconds on these guys.
Yeah, an absolute clinic, no question about it by TJ. Few corners still left to go, and the Pack EMH number 1, the defending champion of this AOMX FXR Championship, on his way to claiming his first moto win of the season, and most likely going to end up in third overall, depending on where Chase ends up here on the final lap. But he's at least done the deed here in Moto 2, set himself up for the best possible position he can. Moto 2 here at Hangtown goes to TJ. The backflip over the line to boot. Impressive stuff. Well done to him getting the job done here in Moto 2. Got to go way back to find our potential overall winner, though, as Brad going over the big triple on his way to, I think, winning this overall, unless something happens between Washed and Chase on this final lap. KFC still between them, but now KFC goes down, so Chase going to get by KFC for fourth. Unquestionably so. At least right now, it's working out in the favor of Brad, but we'll have to wait for those penalties to give us a official score at the end of this one. Unofficially, though, this is going to be the overall win for Brad as he crosses the line. A 2-2 performance should get it done. And we'll wait to see if anything changes. Here comes Washed to at least cross the line in third. Will Chase get there on penalties? He's going to get pretty close. No. 5 seconds back. And officially locked down. There it is. Brad wins round 2 here at Hangtown. Good stuff.
Yeah, but, Chase beating KFC does give him a P2 in the overall. He's still going to end up losing. He's only going to lose a point to Brad. So, obviously, he wants to gain some more and not lose them. But gotta take your wins where you could get them and hopefully, continue on to do better in the next 8 rounds of this title.
Yep, and just keeping it close. That's all you got to do, because there could be some big weeks still ahead if you're either Brad or Chase in this championship fight. As you mentioned, though, locks down P2 in the overall, but TJ with that win and Chase able to hold on for fourth does lock down third overall in this race. So your podium will be Brad, Chase, TJ, 1, 2, 3 overall here at Hangtown. Good rides all around, though. We saw some strong rides. Obviously, KFC in the second moto. Willie hung tough. Had a good result here in this one as well. And 8 guys on the lead lap. Rye Guy holds on to end on the lead lap here in Moto 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about consistency, TJ was the man with, the first lap that actually counted. He ran a 1:43.374. And then the last lap of the race, he ran a 1:43.378. So 3 thousandths or 4 thousandths slower from lap 1 all the way to lap 14. So just being consistent really helped him out here in this moto.
Yeah, that is crucial in any MX Bikes race, is consistency. And when you can do it at a high level like these guys in the AOMX Championship were able to do, often wins you the race as well. So TJ wins Moto 2. But the overall does indeed go to Brad. And I think we're about to chat to our man Dizzle in just a moment. I'm sure he'll jump in here, as he ended up 11th in that second moto. So some good points on the board today for him, 16-11. Again, I'll ask you, is he going to be happy about that, or is he more annoyed that he could have been better?
I mean, Dr. Gio beat him by 1 position both motos. You hate to see it. That's probably what's going to frustrate him the most. But, I mean, I feel like he'll be happy with that. Last year, I think he was struggling to get top 10s, and being close to him might help him, hopefully feel good for the following races. So, yeah, we'll wait and see.
We will wait and see indeed. And again, just like last week, looks like Brad not going to be able to do interviews unless you or I spontaneously figure out how to speak French. But of course,
I've thought about it in the past, but I didn't ever commit on it. So
fair enough. But yeah, he does pick up the win second week in a row, retains the red plate. And I think we will be talking to definitely Chase here in just a moment. We'll see if TJ also is interested in having a chat. There's our man Dizzle, 16-11 on the day, getting some points on the board. We're happy, right, Dizzle?
Yeah, I had fun. I was in there just goofing around, you know?
That's the least confident yeah I've probably ever heard.
Hey, what did I tell you before this race? I was like, I think I used all my talent here in the aerial race. So, no, it was good. It was fun.
Well, I'm glad that you had fun. That's all that matters at the end of the day. It is a video game. Should be having fun doing it. So, happy days.
Yeah, I know some other people were not happy with my track selection tonight, but oh well.
Like you had a choice, man. You put it on the wheel and then it just showed up. So, what are you going to do?
Right. And hey, to be fair, I put more than 10 tracks on the wheel overall, so there was a chance it could have never been used for this whole series. So that's why we randomized it.
That is indeed why it was randomized. Well, good stuff out of you tonight. Good stuff out of our winners, of course. And I think we are going to have a chat in just a moment with Chase, I believe, who ends up second overall. And
see if I can get TJ to message him privately for it.
Yeah, he might. I mean, it is late. Might be going to bed. We get it. These guys are ready to have a nice little sleep or snooze after this race. At least we'll talk to Chase. Cam says he's not racing anymore, Dizzle. He loves you, but he can't do it anymore.
Oh, boy. I'm sure he'll be back next week.
Yeah, money's involved. He'll be back.
All right, we'll bring in Tyler.
I'm pretty sure he said that. Yeah. Let me double check, but yeah, I think he got third. Wait.
All right.
Yes. Tyler J third, Chase second, Brad 1.
All right, now joining us, your third place overall finisher, Moto 2 winner. More importantly, though, Tyler J back with a vengeance. Misses the first round. First of all, are you okay? How are we feeling right now?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
I'm currently in bed while doing this.
Are you laying down?
No, I was sat in my chair, but it gets uncomfortable.
Yeah,
the back brace presses. It presses in the worst places.
Oh, brutal. Well, sorry that happened to you, but obviously able to rebound this week and get back in the winner's circle in Moto 2. What was the difference in Moto 2 versus Moto 1, you think?
I had a random setup on, so I asked my goat wash, and he sent it me. So then I won.
All right, so no more random setups. We just need to have good stuff underneath you, and you'll be winner.
Oh, I've been riding the Fantic all year, so I rode the Yam because the Fantic didn't feel great. And
yeah, what was off with the Fantic tonight?
It's too loose, I think. Like it needs a deep ruts like the past 6 rounds of outdoors, but like I don't know if you see the track, there's just nothing to really grip on.
Yeah, obviously a bit more flat, high speed like we would normally see with Hangtown. But so yeah, 5-1 for third overall. The first moto, let's go back to that for just a minute. There was some times where you and Cam got together. You ended up battling for third, then slipping back outside the top 5, ends up fifth in the first moto. What was the level of frustration after that one, and how did you regroup?
I was just annoyed, I think, because I haven't really stayed up in a long time because of work and that. So, I mean, sorry, work. Can't say a little word. But yeah, I was just hella frustrated.
But able to regroup for Moto 2. Obviously, a good start probably helped you a little bit there. But how quickly do you feel like you were able to settle in the groove too?
Pretty quick, to be fair. Once I figured out the setup, it took me 3 laps because the one I was using would firm some stuff and just be really bad other places, and this one wouldn't really firm the stuff I could do. So I did a few helicopters down hills and stuff, but once I figured that out, I was setting burners. Yeah,
no helicopters, nothing but burners, and you absolutely dominated. 41-second lead in Moto 2. So many congratulations on that. Who would you like to thank, though, for this P3 overall here at the second round?
Pack, EMH, for sure, GOAT team, and obviously the GOAT Wash himself for sending me the setup and just being the GOAT.
Awesome stuff. Well, congrats, TJ. We look forward to seeing you back, though, the rest of the series, I hope, right?
Yeah, you most likely see me. I've got nothing better to do.
All right. Well, we'll see TJ coming up here in the next few rounds. Again, congrats on P3 and that Moto 2 win, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
See you next week.
All right. So that was TJ, our third overall finisher here tonight And I think in just a moment, we'll talk to our second place finisher. There he is. It is our Moto 1 winner and second place overall finisher, Chase, joining us. Let's go back to Moto 1, though. Chase, able to get away in the second half of that first moto, get the win. Just talk us through, how that one felt to finally get a good start and go off and win that thing.
I mean, it was way easier when you finally get a good start. I am known for having the worst starts in all of aerial, so that was a nice break to actually be up front for once. Finally got in my groove. I've been working on setup a little bit here and there, and I felt really good, honestly. The first moto, I just had no one around me, so I could just ride my own race.
Yeah, and you got away, dominated that one. I want to go to the second moto, and specifically second lap. You go down at the bottom of the downhill. Going up the uphill, you end up sandwiched between couple guys, and we're not sure if it was intentional or not, but you got pinched off and went down again. Do you know what happened there? Have you talked to anybody about it?
Oh, yeah, I clipped both times. That Jordan W guy was just trying to take me out for whatever reason. Like, he was on the left out of that sandwich right there, and he just completely scrubbed to the right and then killed me. And he did the same thing going into the, I don't know what it is, the Supercross kind of section. Going down into the right-hander before it. He was on my right, a little bit behind me. And I knew he was going to do it this time, so I checked up. Literally went wide open down the hill and tried to kill me. So, I don't know what kind of issue he had, but it's probably not going to be here next week, if I were to guess, based off the clips that I have saved.
I was going to ask
I was
that
just
question.
about to say, did you clip that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I clipped it twice. Yeah.
All right, good.
All right, noted.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan W. is sweating in his chair now, sitting at home wherever he is. But yeah, you regroup really well after that because you did actually get back into a position at one point to win the overalls. So just talk me through the mindset reset after that, because you were outside of the top 20 and made it all the way back to third.
Honestly, like, the mental was already pretty destroyed after that, to be honest. I was just not happy, not where I should be. Should have been a fun battle between me and Tyler, and I'm sitting there messing around with Jordan W, just some guy that sits at his computer all day, trying to take me out over and over while I'm trying to have fun on my dirt bike game. But just tried to calm down, stop complaining, because then it's just going to be worse if you just sit there and complain the whole time. Actually try and catch back up instead of just like flapping your lips the whole time. And then we settled into a groove there for the middle part, and then me notoriously sucking at this track kind of came into play at the end. So I was trying to cheater line as much as I could to stay out of the E-road, but it did not work the whole time. So
Interesting that you say that, because we were kind of theorizing that this is a track you're maybe a little bit more comfortable at than Unadilla, but you still think this one doesn't fit your style either?
oh no, I'm glad these are the first two rounds. These are my worst two tracks on the entire calendar. Out of the entire 2025 motocross and GP calendar, these two tracks are my worst. Easily.
All right, well, then we'll expect big things from you coming forward, because you're going to be more comfortable moving forward. But yeah, so again, congratulations. You end up second overall on the night. Don't lose too many points to Brad in the championship standings. Who do you want to thank for this P2 overall?
You already know, I gotta thank the Charge Cycle Works boys, keeping the mood up while I'm sitting there complaining about some dudes in my little dirt bike game, keeping me within reality here. All the sponsors, Charge Cycle Works, Liat, Thrill Seekers, Grip It, Mountain Slayers, Bullfit, all the guys that help me out and keep my program going. I gotta run that whole program over there, so I appreciate all those guys. I appreciate the AOMX fellas, Talon Dizzle over here, for hearing the yapathon from every rider in existence about this track.
You ain't kidding.
Appreciate the hosting. The race was fun. It has a lot of really good people. And then I can actually get ready for the next race.
That is awesome. Well, again, many congratulations, not only on the moto win, but second overall. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, boys.
All right. Well, that is Chase, our Moto 1 winner, second overall on the night. And again, Brad, who did win our overall, speaks French. So we are not able to speak with him, but that's okay because I think that he is doing the speaking on the racetrack himself at this point in time. So holds on to the red plate another week, and good stuff for him.
So we got Brad obviously still leading the points, but he's got a 15-point lead over Chase now and a 21-point lead over Willie, who's third now.
All right, so well done, Willie, sneaking up there, having another solid result this week. And onwards and upwards to round 3 we go. Brad will have that red plate once again, and we'll see if he can hold on to it wherever we're headed to next week. If you had a choice, Dizzle, where would you like to go next week?
I mean, no, I'm actually done with that track after the last little league race I did, and I found a cliff that I didn't know existed on the track, and I went off of it, and I was very upset. So every time I do a race at Southwick on this game, I just have terrible luck. So yeah, no, I'd probably pick like Indiana or Deschambault. Those are probably my 2 favorites right now.
All right, well, we get to let the wheel decide again next week and see what fun activities we'll get up to. Surely it's going to be a good time. But we hope to see you guys then. Round 3 of the AOMX FXR Championship. What you got for me, Talon?
Oh, we'll see if Brad can keep his podium streak. He's gotten on the podium every moto so far, so see if he can continue that.
And he's 2 for 2 with overalls, and we're going to try to make sure he gets a red plate bike for next week.
There we go. Consistency kills, and he is killing it to start this 2025 campaign on the right foot. So, again, big shout-out FXR, FXRRacing.com. Head over there and check them out. All the boys at the AOMX Championship behind the scenes for putting on round 2 of this series. Boys, hopefully you guys had a good night. We're ready to head to round 3.
Yes, sir. Just want to say thanks to everybody for coming out. Thank you, Kellen, for streaming. Thank you, FXR, for putting up the prizes. And thank you for everybody for tuning in.
Right on. Well, that is round 2 of this championship done and dusted. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll be back for round 3 of the series, and we'll find out where we're racing next week. So thanks for tuning in to round 2 of the FXR AOMX Championship here at MX Bikes, and we'll see you guys next week